It's a new season at Cedar Point, and as always, that means a number of changes throughout the park. Some of them are pretty big, some of them a lot smaller, but all of them may affect you and your visit to the park this year. So in this video, we're going to talk about everything that we've seen so far that's changing and maybe touch some on the overall direction of the park. Let's get the two big things out of the way right here at the beginning. The first major change is that Top Thrill 2, which was supposed to have been the premier ride of 2024 season, but was shut down after only 8 days of operation, is actually available this season as a record-setting coaster. Alongside that, coming in the summer, is a brand new Sirens Curse, a tilt coaster that got a late start, but the final piece of track was in by opening day and they've already started testing. This will mark the first year in modern history where Cedar Point is effectively launching 2 new coasters at the same time. So we'll see how the market and crowds responding to having 2 new rides. These rides will both be offering free lockers as they're both adopting the policy which Steel Vengeance began, where pockets must be totally empty before riding. Another change in the Sirens Curse area is the closure of the stage along the main midway. This has been demolished, and in its place is a new lengthened line for Iron Dragon. I'm actually glad to see this for 2 reasons. First, having the stage was nice, but the location was in an extremely inconvenient spot, as the shows would make it basically impossible to walk by. It created a weird blockage zone in the middle of the midway that I frequently wanted to avoid. Second, Iron Dragon frequently would have lines that would extend beyond its gate out into the midway. By lengthening this queue, this will hopefully again clear up the midway to give us more walking room. Also, a change to Iron Dragon is the new lower height requirement of 42 inches. I don't know why this was lowered, but hey, it happened. Lastly, they've moved the location of the youth performance stage, which used to be in this area, over to nearby the drink stand underneath the Sky Ride. It appears Millennium has gotten a complete repaint, something else that was really needed. Another major change for this year was announced late last year when the 2025 season passes went on sale, and that's the new All-Port Passport features. The All-Port Passport was introduced for the 2024 season, but in 2025, it got an upgrade that made it function for all of Six Flags parks, making it not just one of the best values in theme parks, but one of the best values overall for entertainment in the entire world. For a few $100, you can get access to over 20 theme parks and another 20 water parks all around the country, and it truly makes it one of the best things about the Six Flags merger. Next up, we dive into my favorite section, which is food. Cedar Point's got a new executive chef this year, Chef Christopher, so with that, I'd expect to see at least a few new menu items hit the restaurants. One of the big changes this year has been the demolition of the Happy Friar building in the back of the park, which has been rebuilt from the ground up into a brand new Happy Friar building. Cedar Point explained that this change makes service quicker, as it's positioned more like the other dining locations where you go indoors to get food from a serving line. Chef Christopher also teased that they'll be introducing new twists on their classic fries. However, so far it appears like the only changes are the introduction of either garlic parmesan sauce or heart garlic parmesan sauce on your fries, neither of which are options that are available on the meal plan. However, cheese on a stick and corn dogs are now included on the meal plan at Happy Friar, which previously in this location, while they were offered, they weren't a meal plan option. The mini corn dogs also appear to be a bit different, and I'm theorizing that they're bettering them in-house now instead of using pre-made frozen mini corn dogs. Another change in the food realm is the closure of Chicky and Pete's. This comes as no surprise to us here because if you've been paying attention, they've been slowly closing off all the chain locations in the park over the past 5 years ago, starting with Chick-fil-A. And Chicky and Pete's is simply the latest in that series of closures. I'm hoping it'll be replaced by something new in the next few years. Another closure was actually at the end of last year, which was Quaker Steak and Lube over in Castaway Bay. This location was closed at the end of the year and then was replaced by Famous Dave's, which has officially moved off the peninsula and is now on the mainland. The Boardwalk Pavilion has introduced new cheesy potatoes and a chimichurri steak, which was a change from last year with their soy glazed steak. They discontinued the Syracuse salt potatoes that they used to have, which was a major disappointment to me as I really liked them. Over in the corral, it appears that they've removed the Thai chili chicken tenders and now only have a regular chicken tender, which now means I essentially have no reason to eat there. In Hugo's, they've gotten rid of the pepperoni piadina and traded it in for a meatball piadina, a change that I'd say was a worthwhile swap. They've also added a chicken bacon ranch pizza to the menu, as well as a caprese salad. Coaster's Drive-In no longer serves chicken sandwiches, but otherwise is more or less the same than last year. And Farmhouse has done away with the chicken pot pie that they used to have last year and replaced it with chicken and dumpling soup, which is nearly identical except that the consistency seemed a bit thinner and there are now dumplings in the soup, which wasn't in the chicken pot pie. Mitsuki Smokehouse hasn't seen any big menu changes, but the inside of the restaurant did get an overhaul with new tablecloths, chairs, and they've now removed the restrooms in that building and replaced them with a self-serve drink station. Finally, across the board, it appears that the park has changed their supplier for chicken. Chicken tenders at all locations are considerably smaller than they used to be, and in response, Cedar Point used to be pretty strict about 3 tenders per meal. We've often been getting 4 and 5 chicken tenders per meal since they've been small. I'm perfectly happy with this change as long as we keep getting approximately the same amount of food, but I do fear it's an opportunity for them to decrease the overall portion in the future. No changes that I noticed inside of Backbeat, but the outside in the seating area there was the curious addition of a car. I suspect this is going to be used for some kind of show, but we've yet to see what that show is. In Cedar Point Shores, there's going to be some new water slides this year that are replacing the slides that were quietly removed last year. And jumping back around to the Midway, Cedar Point announced that they're adding a suite of new games to the Midway near Max Air. These games, they say, should be fully automated with no attendant required, making them an interesting decision by Cedar Point to help introduce new experience while alleviating some of their staffing issues. And there's an assortment of random other really small changes like new speakers placed around the parks, new flower beds in some random places, and more. Lastly, there's a new sign in front of the park that's replacing the 150th anniversary sign that they've had up the past couple of years. Honestly, I'm a bit bummed to see the 150th sign go because I really liked it, but I get that they can't keep celebrating forever. So that's it. I'm absolutely certain there's plenty I've missed. So, of course, if you notice something that I didn't mention, please add it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget that you are beautifully and wonderfully made, and you're loved. See you next time.